Good afternoon to you up in the continental United States. It's Sunday, and people are still doing their thing about the debate. And I just have this feeling that it's not going to go well for the Democratic Party unless they do something, and yet they're fighting tooth and nail about this. The New York Times called for a replacement of Joe Biden, and everybody went nuts. They went crazy. They accused the Times of being a revenge plot because Biden wouldn't give him an interview, sit down for an interview. And that may or may not be true, but I mean, they're right. Biden should remove himself. Look, no matter how well he does on stage or anything right now, you can tell he's getting older by the minute. And I don't think he'll be around at the end of his 4-year term. And I'd hate to see him coming out in a wheelchair or something like that, or I'd hate to see him die in office. I think the man should just walk away from it, spend time with his grandchildren. He's there because he saw what was going to happen. Nobody was stepping up in the Democratic Party. Nobody was saying, "Okay, Joe, you take it easy. We'll take over from here." Nobody was saying that. They were all just standing around. And Biden read Project 2025. Biden knows what Trump's going to do, and he wants to stop him. He's trying to be a hero. He's trying to do what he's always done. Stand up for what he believes in. And I honestly believe that, I'll have to admit this, there's nobody else out there willing to stand up, to take a step in the Democratic Party. So maybe Joe has to do it. But they have to do something. Because after Joe, there's Kamala Harris. And I have no faith in her whatsoever for being able to spell, never mind anything else, okay? I shouldn't have said that. That sounds like it's a racist thing. It's not. I just have no faith in her. I mean, he can't, I don't think Michelle wants the job, but, that would definitely help things. If they knew Michelle Obama was behind him, then they might, I don't know, because like I've read, a lot of reporters said, a few of them said it right at, and they were Democrats, they said it right after the speech, that you're voting for Kamala Harris because they believe, just as I believe, there's no way he's going to make it through 4 years. I don't think Trump's going to make it through 4 years because I think he's going to piss off enough people. He's going to have trouble. Especially if the Democrats manage to win the House and the Senate, it's going to be a bloodbath out there. It really would be, And Biden, being Biden, came back and said, after the Times said what they said, came back and said that they should leave journalism. And that's no good either, But the New York Times isn't what the New York Times used to be. When I was in high school and college a while ago, I used to say that we used to tell our friends, we used to sit around and we would read certain things. We read the New York Times, we read the New York Post, we read a local newspaper in the town we lived in. And then it was the Star Ledger in New Jersey. Okay, so I read those three things, plus I read Rolling Stone magazine. And plus I read Time and Newsweek. Not both the same time every week, depended on their cover stories and what have you, but I read Time or Newsweek. That's when there was investigative reporting. There is no investigative reporting right now. People are reporting, either they're there and they see it and then they take it at face value. They never go into any depth like the the Deep Throat story and stuff like that. Nobody's going into any depth on Trump. If they did, they'd find out what a scumbag he really is, and they would print this story because it would be the truth. You know, I'm sure Biden's got some stuff he doesn't want anybody to know about too, and that would come out too. Instead, you get press releases, or you get Donald Trump saying this and that, and people take him at his word. And you can't take somebody like Trump at his word. He's never been honest in his life. He doesn't know what the word means. You know, that's just the way he is. And I sit here and fortunately, you know, from a living point of view, I don't live in the United States anymore, and I don't do that for, as I said, my family's mostly down here. My niece is still up there. But she's going to retire soon, and I know what she's going to do. And I'm pretty sure I know what she's going to do. We got a couple of great nephews up there, and I know what they're going to do, you know. I'm not sure I'm going to agree with what they do, but I know what they're going to do. But that's all, you know, that's all I have up there. I have a big family down here. I have 3 grandkids down here. I don't like everybody I meet down here. I don't like everybody in the family, you know, but that's the way it goes, you know. I just had a bug fly by my what the hell was that? And how did it get in here? I don't know. Okay, so, you know, this is where I'm at. I feel fortunate that I'm down here, but I understand that, and a lot of my Colombian friends understand this too, that what happens up there affects us. You know, I mean, Mexico's shaking at its boots. You know, they're preparing for a possible war with the United States if Trump decides to invade Mexico, which he threatens to do. And here's the other thing. If you remember movies like The French Connection and stuff like that, where which is a true story, by the way, the heroin got into the United States, and they say, well, now it's much harder because the ports are sealed. No, not if you got money. It's not harder. It's a little bit more expensive to get the drugs into the country. But basically, you can walk across the Canadian border in some areas because if you're adventuresome enough, because they believe it's unpenetrable, it's uncrossable. To bring anything of substance across because of the wild country surrounding the border. But, you know, hijackers came across the Canadian border. We have had terrorists come across the Canadian border. We have drugs coming across the Canadian border. We have drugs arriving in every airport. We have contraband of all sorts arriving in every airport and port in the United States. New Orleans is just as bad because they say cocaine is the #1 drug. Heroin's making a comeback. You got meth, which they can make in any place in the world. They don't have to go to Colombia to get meth. Okay, they can make it in the United States. The Hells Angels and Mongols and all the other big name gangs. They've been dealing meth for years. That's their big drug. That's their big thing. They're not interested. You know, will they go and get it from Mexico? Sure they will, because it's cheap. The quantities are made down there are larger and it's cheaper. But that doesn't mean that if you stop that drug from coming across the border, that they're not going to make it in the deserts of California, Arizona, Texas, you know. So, we'll send drones up. Let me tell you something. For every surveillance tool that's made in the world, there is a countermeasure for it, okay? So don't think it's going to be quite that easy. So he's got to start thinking about other things besides immigrants. Like I said, the #1 source for doctors is in the United States is India. And I have two of my friends that are doctors, and because of the cost of medical school, and that if you don't get a scholarship, you basically can't afford to do it, my friends went to Mexico, because you can come from Mexico to the United States, and it's not as difficult to obtain a medical license in the United States as it is if you came from Colombia and went to the United States. Right? So our engineers come from other countries legally. AT&T imported thousands of Indians as engineers, technicians, because they believe they're superiorly educated to the average American. And the average American wants too much money. If you can bring somebody over on the I forget the name of the visa and have them work for you cheaper, why not? These are the Indians that buy 7-Elevens and stuff like that. They're all in the 7. Yeah, because two reasons they do it. One is they have the money. Two, it's a cash business. Okay? And they're experts at defeating the tax system with cash businesses. So they're one of the few stores like that are one of the few stores left, that don't take debit cards and stuff like that. I don't know. There's probably a way around that too, but I don't deal with debit cards. I don't deal with that defeating tax situation anymore. And there are a lot of problems out there that nobody talks about. Look at the debate. Take away the Biden's old thing from it and everything else, and look at what the substance of the debate. Biden won that debate if you go on substance, not appearance, but substance. Because Trump lies. Trump doesn't have a plan that's effective and will solve a problem and not at the cost of our freedom. All right? You start going after homeless people, there's tens of thousands of homeless people around here in the world, and there are a lot of them in America, and I don't know how many, if there's millions or hundreds of thousands or whatever, but you don't want to piss half of these people are psycho to begin. Some of these people are psycho, and you don't want to piss them off. Some of them are just poor people that have suffered misfortune through the fault of America, where we encourage credit and what have you, and you don't understand that you have to pay it back at some time. Do you know the people that won the New Jersey lottery, and a lot of the lottery winners go bankrupt in the first year or 2 years? And you say, how can that happen? Very easily. Let's say you win $1 million in the lottery, and you take it and you get $1 million after taxes, okay? These people aren't the greatest educated people in the world sometimes. They'll turn around, they'll do things without a financial advisor, or their financial advisor is a crook, and they'll go out and buy a house, cars, everything, and they'll mortgage it, okay? And then they have to understand, if they took the $1 million in payments, it's like, I forget what it is, but it's ridiculous. But you have $1 million credit line, but you don't have the money to pay $1 million credit line. Okay? If you do, you'll be bankrupt in a year because it's just too much money. Because most people don't invest properly, or stop working, so there's no income other than that $1 million. And they say, well, we could live on $1 million forever. No, you can't. No, you can't. you add up your hospitalization and everything else now, because especially if you were getting hospitalization through a business or something like that, and now you got to pay it yourself, and you want good hospitalization because you can afford it now, right? Okay, over $1,000 a month probably. All right. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go get an SUV. Now I had I don't know, a Datsun or something like that. I had a small economical car. Now I've got a SUV. I got a Cadillac. My gas bill is $250 a month for gasoline, and that's cheap, by the way, if you're driving one of the Escalades. Um, and this all adds up, and you're getting, your interest rates. If you just saying the interest, I don't know exactly what it would be, but you exceed your interest, and all of a sudden you can't pay your bills, and this is why these people end up in bankruptcy. Now, can they come out of it pretty easily? I don't know how that works when you've got that money. If you've spent $1 million, if you got it all at one time, you can spend $1 million in a week. Trust me. And some people go crazy. It's batshit crazy because they don't think. And there's a lot of bad people out there that want your money. So, it doesn't work that way. All right, listen. Sunday's here. I'm done. I'll see what happens in the overnight. And I told you I did a live video yesterday. I will state here when I'm going to do my next live video, and I'm probably going to keep doing it at that time, so long as I can. And I understand. I have the time. That's the problem. I have to figure out the time and the day that's most likely not to be disrupted by something I want to do or some medical stuff that I have to do. Okay? All right, so listen. Talk to you later.